Okay, I'm gonna break down for you how I make over $13,000 a month, and it is not selling on Etsy. I'm not an Amazon affiliate. I'm not reselling somebody else's course. This is exactly what I do. In case you're new here, I'm Emily. I'm a Pinterest marketing expert and coach, and for the past, now it's been 6+ years, I have helped business owners increase their traffic and turn it into profit through the power of Pinterest marketing. So when I hit that first, not just 10K month, but it was actually $13,000, I was solely working from home as a Pinterest manager. So you might be wondering, what is a Pinterest manager? As a Pinterest manager, business owners are paying me for my services, and I am actually marketing on their Pinterest account. So when I'm telling people about what I do, hearing Pinterest typically piques their curiosity because a lot of people do love the platform. It's fun. We go to it for ideas, inspiration, but a lot of people don't understand the other side of Pinterest, and that is the business side. Pinterest is a search engine, and it is a wonderful tool for business owners to increase their traffic to their website. And once business owners get more traffic to their website, they're getting people in their world, and ultimately they're able to turn that traffic into more profit for their business. So Pinterest is essentially a platform or a tool business owners can use to increase their traffic and ultimately their profit. And that's why a business owner would pay a Pinterest manager to manage that account for them, because it's ultimately going to make them more money. And business owners are obviously busy, and a lot of times they, one, don't have time to market on the platform themselves, or two, they simply don't know how to properly utilize a platform, because it is very different than social media because it is a search engine to its core. So that's essentially how I hit my first, not just 10K month, but $13,000 month. And what I'm actually still doing to this day in 2025, and now what I help my students do inside my Pinterest Manager Academy. Now, if you are wanting to get the behind the scenes for how I built and scaled my Pinterest management business, I want you to check out, which I will link below, my Secret Pinterest Manager podcast. I'm going to give you 10 episodes where I am breaking down exactly what I did to get to that first 10K month and beyond. And it definitely did not happen overnight. So be sure to grab that podcast below. Now that we've talked about what is a Pinterest manager, let's talk about what do Pinterest managers do. So I'm going to list for you the tasks I am completing on a daily basis as a Pinterest manager. So the first thing I'm typically doing for my clients, especially when I'm taking over an account or if I'm actually starting an account from scratch, no matter what point I am with my clients, this is an absolute must. Number one is doing keyword research. Since Pinterest is a search engine, you have to understand what keywords your client's audience is actively searching for, and then you need to use those keywords in their pins, their boards, their profile, because that is going to help your client get discovered by their ideal audience, the audience who's going to take action on their content, their products, and so on, so that you're ultimately helping them get that income from the platform. So when I'm doing my keyword research for my clients, there are different tools that you can use for doing keyword research, but I always recommend just starting right on the platform and doing your keyword research there. And I will link below different ways that you can do keyword research. I do have other YouTube videos where I am breaking down exactly what you need to know about doing keyword research on Pinterest, but that is something that I'm doing for my clients. And what I do is I essentially create this document where I am listing all of the pillar and long tail keywords I want my clients to rank for. And it's really giving me this solid foundation before I start creating any pins or moving any further. I have to have that solid base and foundation. So number two, now that I have the keyword research done, the second thing that I'm doing on a daily basis for my clients is I'm strategically selecting where I want to drive their pins to. So on Pinterest, we are searching, we see pins, and then a lot of time we're leaving the platform to get those solutions that we're actively searching for. So my job as a Pinterest manager, depending on what my client's business is about, what their objective is for the platform, I am choosing, like I mentioned strategically, where I'm directing their pins to. So for some of my clients, if they are bloggers, but they're also wanting to build their email lists, we are driving pins to their blog posts and They're lead magnets mainly. So it's going to vary business to business because, for example, some of my clients are e-commerce businesses and they don't have a blog, they have products. And so it's going to look a little bit different based off of your client and what their objective is for the platform. And that's another reason why business owners are willing to pay you well as a Pinterest manager, is because you understand that strategy piece. And not only do you understand the strategy, but then you are also selecting the tactics, such as how many pins you're creating, where those pins are being directed to, how many times a day you're pinning, and so on. So that is the second piece, is really deciding strategically where I'm directing the pins to. So then the third thing that I'm doing on a daily basis is designing the pins. So I use a platform like Canva to design the pins for my clients, and they do provide assets for me. So they are providing their images, their videos for me. If they don't have images, then sometimes I will use stock photos, but it's typically preferable to have your own photos. I find that they just perform better on pins. And once again, I will link below another video I have about how to create scroll stopping pins. Now, the next thing that I'm not necessarily doing on a daily basis, but more of a monthly basis, I am creating a monthly report for my clients. So on a monthly basis, I am looking at the data, breaking it down, and what I'm really doing is I'm comparing their Pinterest analytics to their Google analytics, and I'm essentially not just giving them the numbers, but saying this is what's working well, this is what could be improved upon, and then I'm also providing recommendations about content that they could be creating or focusing on moving forward in the next quarter so that they have the best chance of ranking well on Pinterest. So I'm essentially telling them what are the upcoming trends on Pinterest, and they can take that into consideration when they are creating their content. And that also kind of gives them an idea of what I'm going to be focusing on within their content so that I'm giving their pins the best chance of ranking well. So those are some of the core things that I'm doing on a daily/weekly basis and also a monthly basis for my clients. Now that we've talked about what is a Pinterest manager, what does a Pinterest manager do, I want to share with you before we wrap up this episode what I'm offering to my clients as a Pinterest manager. Okay, so you might want to get out your notebook for this because I'm going to be breaking down for you what you're going to be offering as a Pinterest manager, and this is something that I get asked about a lot. So these are the different types of packages I offered as a Pinterest manager, and what I was offering when I hit that first 5-figure month, which was not just $10,000, but as I mentioned before, over $13,000. So I was offering account setups, account cleanups, a comprehensive maintenance package, account audits, and strategy calls. And I did ultimately continue to scale my business, specifically my services, through offering a more premium service, which was Pinterest ads management. But just in full transparency, when I hit that first 5-figure month, I was not even offering that premium service just yet. And so I think that speaks a lot to the need for this service and just that you can make a really great income and you don't even have to offer a premium service such as ads management. However, I do think it's a bit easier to scale through offering that premium service, but that's another story for another day. So let's go ahead and talk about these packages, and I'm going to break them down a bit further. So with the account setup, hence the name, you are setting up a Pinterest account for a business owner. And there's actually a lot that goes into that because you're going to be doing things such as confirming their domain, doing their keyword research, creating all of their boards, optimizing all of them, taking that SEO work into consideration. And it is a hefty load to be doing the account setup, but that is why I charged a bit more for it. Now with the account cleanup, that also was a bit of a heavy lift depending on my clients' account and what they had going on up until that point, but hence the name cleanup. What I would do for an account cleanup was I would essentially take 30 days, which I should have mentioned with my account setup. I would also give myself 30 days. And with that account cleanup, I would get everything optimized. So sometimes they would need a better optimized bio, or maybe they had some boards that weren't relevant or boards that were missing descriptions. So I would get everything cleaned up and optimized. And I would also start pinning consistently and implementing a strategy. And actually going back to the account setup, I would do the same with the setup. I didn't just set up their account and create their boards. I actually started implementing the strategy so that they were getting pins and content onto their account. So that was the account Setup and cleanup, and both of those, I should mention, were essentially one-time services, so that wasn't something that you'd be doing month over month. However, they typically would roll into what would be my retainer package, which was the comprehensive maintenance package. Now, I would love when I would do an account setup or a cleanup and it would roll into that comprehensive maintenance, but I would also have people who came to me who had a great Pinterest strategy in place, and maybe they lost their Pinterest manager, or maybe they had been working on their Pinterest account and they just didn't have time for it anymore. But as the comprehensive maintenance package, I would be implementing a consistent Pinterest strategy, designing the pins, doing all of that work, and that was my most common package, and that is based on retainer. So that meant that my clients would be paying me month over month for those services, and that is another thing that drew me to freelancing as a Pinterest manager. I knew the nature of the work was really based on retainer and consistency in order to get results on the platform, and I wanted consistent income. That is another huge thing that I want to mention. As I mentioned at the beginning, this is not Etsy, this is not Amazon affiliate income. That was one reason why I wanted to freelance and have a service-based business, is because I wanted consistent income and I didn't want to be hustling for sales all the time. Now, of course, there's work with obtaining your clients and building that client base in the beginning, but once I started landing clients, I was never without clients, and I did have really great consistent income as a Pinterest manager. Now, my smaller packages, such as the audit or the strategy call, those were one-off services and they weren't very expensive, but that wasn't something that people needed really. It was, like I said, they would be a one-off service, and I would say maybe a couple times a year, people would actually book me for my audits or my strategy calls, but it was still something great to offer. And these are all things that I teach my students inside my Pinterest Manager Academy. And not only do I tell them exactly what goes into each of these packages, but also how to price them. So as we wrap up, if you want to learn more about becoming a Pinterest manager, want to learn more about my Pinterest Manager Academy, I highly recommend checking below. My secret Pinterest Manager podcast is going to break it all down for you. I would love for you to subscribe to my channel. Let me know what questions you have in the comments, and I can't wait to see you soon in next week's episode. Bye for now.